Okay, so here is our moisture meter, and here is a board, and we are looking now at making some living room shelves for my son, and here's a story behind that. I'm not at his house, so I can't show you pictures, but he's had probably 10 trees taken down, big trees, you know, 30-inch diameter, I don't know, 90-foot tall trees that were right next to his house. So some were ash, some were willow. I think there's a cottonwood in there. And that was probably like 7 years ago, maybe now. And I did not have a sawmill at the time, so I found a local person with a sawmill, and we had them sawn into lumbers of 1 inch, 2 inch thick, and 4x4s, with the intent of using them for some shelving projects at my son's house. Well, 7 years later is now time to start thinking about building those shelves. So this, I believe, is ash. And you can see it's already been planed down to 3/4, I believe. So I think it was probably like an inch board that had some warping to it. But I took it to school, the shop at school, and they did that. And then it sat in his garage for a while, and now we're thinking of trying to at least, this is one board we could possibly use for shelving. So we're going to try to figure this out. Did a lot of reading online. All right, so we have our Govee here, and it says 70.4 degrees F, 42%, 42.9% relative humidity. All right, let's give it a try. Here we go. All right, so there's 7%. 7%. Let's try over here. 5%. So this board is probably dry enough to where I need it, but I need to sterilize it. So I needed to get it up to 140 for 3 hours. So that's gonna be our next thing. But I would like to compare temperature relative humidity to our moisture content. 70 degrees, right? 70 and 42% humidity. Should give us about 7.78, and we were reading between 5 and 8. So I guess that this chart does match. This board's been down here, I don't know, like 3 days or something. All right, so that's pretty neat. So here's a little test chamber. We have to get that board up to 140 for 3 hours. So we have this little temperature monitor here, and there's a temperature probe inside our box. Inside we have a space heater, and this was controlling around 120. So let's just wait until it turns on again. I have to move it up to see if we can get it up to 140. Last time I tried this, the over temperature safety switch disabled it. I think most of the literature said the fan motor windings can't take more than 140 degrees F, so they put a over temp limit switch in there that shuts it down. So that's may not be suitable for what I need, but let's find out what we can get out of it. So right now we're set, and it's not a digital control, it's just a little knob you turn. So this is that was a 117 and 107, and that's like a 2-minute cycle. So we can at least get it up to 117. I'm going to turn the knob a little bit and see if we can go a little bit higher. Okay, just a tad of a turn and back in it goes. All right, there we go. We're up 124 degrees, so it's cycling 124. All right, so we turned it up a bit. So we got like 135 to 124. So it's like a 10 degrees cycle, but we're getting close to 135. And here we have, this is the 140 line. So that's like up to like 150. And it's been cycling, that's like 137, I think, 135. So it's gotten above 140, up to 150. I just have to get it to cycle with a minimum of 140. Okay, I think we've tripped. This was 150.6, I believe, and now it is down, going near 110. So I think the safety has tripped. So it looks like the max we're going to get, and that's temperature at the top of the box, is 150. I have a feeling the temperature in the middle of the box is not 150. It's probably like 140. All right, well, this setup will not get me to sterilization temperatures. All right, so this thermometer, which is this graph, are these temperatures here. And this I placed inside the box, and you can, which is about, I put it on a little container, so about halfway up height. So you can see, like that's 100 when I was 120, you know, 145 is 110 degrees. So I think the air at the top of this box is warmer based on this, although that's may not be as calibrated as that, and they might have a longer delay. But anyways, here's the interesting thing. So outside the box, it's 70.6 F and 42.6 relative humidity is a certain dew point, and I don't know all the math and that. I'm just kind of like saying shit out of my head here. And we get it warm, the same air mass, right? It's just in my basement here. Nothing's changing. It goes down to 25, up to 105 is 21. I get up to 109, at least what this reads, and then it's at 18. So what does that mean? So that means for this schedule, if I'm trying to keep, let's say 8 at room temperature here, right? 70 degrees, 42, so 70 degrees, 42. So we're about 8. That's what that board is right now, sitting there, 8%, and that's what we measured with that meter. That's what it says would be equilibrium moisture content. But if I need to bring this thing up to 140, and just let's say for shits and giggles, we got to 110, and it was 18%. So here we go, 110, and we are at 18. So that's going to be a moisture, equivalent moisture content of 4. So that means my board is going to start drying to a moisture content of 4 instead of 8. Right? So we want it up here at 8. So that would mean that if, as I get higher temperature, I need to put my humidity up to like 47%. I get up, so 50. So I have to, I'm going to have to increase my relative humidity as my temperature goes up to keep my same moisture content. And how the hell do I do that? I guess one of the things says you can get one of those steamers from Rockler or whatever, and that's how they like condition their boards at the end. But somehow in my basement, in a box with a board and some type of heating unit, I will need to add humidity so that my board does not dry too much on the outside while the temperature on the inside is getting up to and staying at 140 degrees for 3 hours. I wonder. Yeah, that's all interesting. Okay, well, out of all this, I need to find something that gets up to 140 degrees minimum, 150 probably top end, in order to sterilize my board in some form or fashion, and it has to do that for 3 hours. So I guess I got to find a different way to heat and some way to make a small kiln, maybe out of cardboard or styrofoam or foam board or something to fit that board in. I got other boards, but I just want to try with one to see what the hell's going on here. Interesting